So, picking up from yesterday's lesson, here's what we had. We had a few things that we might change a bit. One of the elements we want to work with is the links. If you remember, our website looked like this, and we could just click on the links but not actually have something that is running. So let's actually play around with our links and also with the appearance of how this page should look. The one thing that we need to then do is, in this particular instance, I had to open up a couple of things here, simply because of using a new system. But here are some of the things that we would want to have. For a start, yesterday I'd actually given you something that was not true, in that the method, yes, at this point the method is a post, that's right, but I'd also then put post here. It's actually supposed to be action, whereby it just then takes us to the index page. At the same time, we also can have a type for our button, and our type is equal to a submit. So submit becomes our button type. Same goes for register. We click on register and then it gives us a submit. So our submit now becomes the button that we'll be able to use. At the same time, now we want to be able to say this gets a simple pound sign, which then means we can add this to our page, and all this simply does, it takes us to our index page, or just pretty much gives us the entire page. So if we refresh, there won't be much of a change. However, we've got this bit, whereby we'd actually put it as menu. We can remove menu and just leave it as a link, and then if we refresh, it won't actually show us anything. We wanted to actually modify it to that, so that it actually gives us some extra content. I think I can also still put what we had, which was text decoration, and we'll put it as none. So what this then means now is we've got our display, we've got our padding, we've got our font size, and we've got our text decoration. If we refresh that, we'll actually be able to see that all our text is not decorated. That's number one. No, our text still is decorated, but the listing of our content has changed, whereby we now have our home, about, products and services. This is mainly how we change some of the content in our CSS. So the effect we're trying to get is this one, whereby everything is not having any text decorated. Let me show you how I got to that. So I just simply put a comma, then I put my A, and then if I save, I can be able to show you what that does. So if I refresh, we then now have our content looking like that. So we've been going through quite a number of elements and have not been having some notes that accompany this. So let's actually just have a few elements that we want to have. So our page consists of HTML plus PHP plus CSS plus JavaScript. What each element does is it builds the website and gives a result based on the content. So at the same time, I actually recreated this website, but I'm realizing that I forgot to put an image. In yesterday's one, we had an image that was written online shop. However, would want to add some more content and context to this page as we progress, because as it stands, it still looks okay, but we've got a little bit of a challenge in that it's still a little bit plain. But we will add some more information, some more content, so that this website looks a bit better than it is now. We can also just play around with some of the content. For example, we've got our p tags. We'd want to have our p tags designed. We had not actually worked with that, whereby we can say padding top, we can have it as 15px. We can have our padding left as 10px. We can also have our width as fit content. We can have our height as fit content as well. So we can save that, we refresh, and then we see how our content will then now look. At this particular stage, we're just learning how we do most of these things, but we would want to add more to this. So at the same time, now we said we want to add these pages. Okay, so each page will have some content in it, and then the content would be what we will use for various learning attributes. So adding on to some of the things that we've got and some of the videos that you've got, let's create our pages. Let's go to creating our pages, and then we work with it that way. I save my page as in okay, wrong location. I save it as about. I want this to be a PHP file. I go to the next file. I save it as products. It is also a PHP file. Since it's a PHP file, we will be able to use it for our PHP. So we have done products and about. We want services, and maybe let's add a contact form so that we see how some of these things are working, because we are still pretty much working with design, so we need to design as many options as is possible. So we go to save as, and then we save this as products we have, so we save this as services, and then we save this as PHP. The next one we save as contact, like that. So what this simply means now is we can now have the same context in each of the pages, and we may need to define specific attributes that we would want to have. So for the most part, everything might be different for each page, and each page would then need its own definitions and variables. So for now, we then need to link each of the pages. We also need to maybe for now we need to set aside the section of our form, because we'll need to use it at a later stage. So for now, let's not have it. So I'll just remove that bit. I save it there, and then I come back and I edit. This becomes index.php. This becomes about.php. This becomes products.php. This becomes services. One becomes contact.php. So as it stands, we've got our pages, and we've linked our pages the way we would want them to be linked, and we've got our CSS running, so everything will be okay. So what we'd want to do now is we'd want to copy everything. We'd want to paste it on each of the pages, so that we have something that is uniform. And at the same time, we might need to edit each of the individual pages so that we get to see what each page does and what makes each page different. So this page and the heading, we can call this about. The next page, we can call this products. We can call the next page services. We can call the last page contact. we've got our pages, and if we run it, we'll be able to see a different setup in our pages. So now we've got our home, we've got our about, we've got our products, we've got our services, we've got our contact. So each time that we're moving this, if you can take note, this is the address to this particular page. 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 So that's how we would know that our pages are different and our content is different. So as you can see, we've got our website. Looking at the way it looks, we've got our home, we've got our about, we've got our products, we've got our services, we've got our contact. Right, so we'd also need to put the register and the login, maybe as separate pages for now, so that we have what we initially had. So I can save that as our login, and then this becomes a PHP. We click on save. That also we can save and then have that as our register. So the reason why we're doing each page by itself is we want to learn how we can distribute our content based on whatever it is that we are hoping to get. So part of what we need to do in our learning is we need to have some context. So the context then becomes something that we will be working with. Let's say, for example, I might need pictures. Let's get that picture, for example. We'll just use it for design purposes. And you can add different pictures as well whilst you're doing whatever it is that you're doing with your page. Okay, so let's work with the page by page description. So what we want is we want to maybe give the individual an introduction on the shop. We just tell them it is simply a shop that is catered for all your computer needs, computer networking and hardware solutions. Okay, so would want another paragraph where in this paragraph we just say the following: please feel free to contact us on, then you can put an email address, info at uzonline.uz.ac.zw. That then becomes our email address. By the way, this email address does not exist, so it is just a placeholder. We'll be having that as our page, and we can put some information that we feel is right or can be used for each page. However, this becomes a part of our website. So there's many other elements that we would still need to add, we would still need to work with, so that this page or these pages look different. For example, we can add tables to some of our pages, and tables help us to sort of have a guideline of what each element does, what we might need to design within our page. So this will also be part of the design. But the next stage now would be us working with some of the concepts that we've had. So for example, if you remember, there's the file that I sent you on your emails, whereby this is the file. I can actually be able to go in right. In this particular instance, I can then go for my PHP. Taking a bit of time, I'm not sure why. Let's try a different one. No, but we want PHP. Let's work with PHP. We can also open the other one. They don't seem to be opening. Okay, let's just try another way of opening them. So we would want to proceed with our content, whereby we can go to the contact form, which is this one, and then would want to redesign it. Okay, so we'd want a form where this form will have a method of posts, whereby we'll say contact.php, and then we want to put our elements. So the first element we want is, we want to put an input where we have a type which is equal to text. We want a name to be equal to name. We would also want a placeholder to be equal to name. So what this then means with a placeholder, we're just simply putting something that will show us what this is going to be used for. Maybe let's just save and see what it does. If I refresh, you actually then realize that it's just giving me name in the text box, and I can actually type out whatever name I want to put. From there, would want to put a message input placeholder would be message as well. And then we put our line break. Then from there we want to put a text area where the rows we want them to be 10, the columns we want them to be 15. Name property we want it to be the message. Then from there we put a button, and then with our button we then put the text for the button to be sent. So what this then means is we've created our contact form, and here is how it will look. We've got our name, we've got our message, we've got where we want to put the message, and then we want to send this. Let's just put a placeholder for the text area so that we can see what that placeholder does. And our placeholder would be start typing here. So from there we are good to go. At the same time we can maybe just add a few elements to our page. Let's have lorem ipsum. We just want to generate that and see what it gives us, because all we want is to just have some text in our files, and then we are good to go. So that took quite a while, but at least we're now there. So as you can see, this is just some generally random text that was created for us, and we just want to get some of this text and put it in our document or in any of our pages. Right, so we can just copy that text, we come to maybe the about page, and then we paste our text. Okay, if we save it and we go back to our document, let's go to about, we then actually get to see what the text looks like. Okay, so at this particular instance we can actually play around with this text and maybe change how it looks and how it feels and things like that. But I think in general we've gone through some of the elements that we need to work with in our design stage. We'll get more, or we'll get to do more as we are progressing. So maybe the next thing that we need to do outside of this is to actually then get some of the functionality that we need in a PHP platform. I will work on a simple website that does a little bit of the basics, so that we then get to see how this PHP works. So far we've been dwelling so much on the design and how the design is supposed to come out, and we may not be able to finish all the design work that is required, but at least if we have the basics of what the design is supposed to look like, we can then be able to build from there. So I'll try and work on a system now that will give us some of the basics of what we need, and then we'll build it from there.